Okay, so let's jump right into one of the most powerful self-improvement books ever written, Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What we're going to do is break down the absolute core principles of this classic, and it all boils down to one massive idea. Real, lasting effectiveness has to start from the inside and work its way out.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the big problem Covey saw in the world. Then we'll walk through the private and public victories, which are huge. After that, we'll cover the habit of renewal, which is essential. And finally, we'll see how it all clicks together into this amazing upward spiral of growth.
All right, so where does this whole journey even begin? Well, it starts with Covey identifying a fundamental issue with our modern idea of success. This obsession we have with finding a quick fix or a shortcut that, let's be honest, never really works in the long run. Now check this out, because this is so key. For the first 150 years or so of the United States, success was all about the character ethic. It was about who you were on the inside, your integrity, your humility, those deep foundational principles. But then, sometime after World War I, things flipped. We shifted to the personality ethic, where success became all about your public image, your communication techniques, the superficial stuff. It's the difference between actually being good and just looking good.
And that's Covey's whole point right there. You can't create lasting change by just trimming the leaves of your behavior. It's pointless. You have to work on the roots, your character, the way you see the world, your deepest motives. This inside-out idea is the bedrock for everything else we're about to talk about. So the very first step on this inside-out path is what Covey calls the private victory. This is all about mastering yourself first. Because let's face it, you can't effectively lead or cooperate with anyone else until you've gotten your own house in order. The habits aren't just some random checklist. They follow this really logical path. We all start out in a state of dependence, where we rely on others. The first big goal is to achieve independence, where we can stand on our own 2 feet. But, and this is crucial, that's not the final destination. The ultimate goal is interdependence, where we can team up with other independent people to create something amazing. You have to be independent before you can be truly interdependent. You can't skip steps. And these first 3 habits, this is how you get to independence. It all kicks off with habit 1, be proactive. This is a game changer. It's the idea that you are the creator of your life. You're in charge because you choose how you respond to everything that happens to you. Then comes habit 2, begin with the end in mind. This is about knowing where you're going. What's your mission? What's your destination in life? And finally, habit 3, put first things first, is the nitty-gritty of making it happen, organizing your life around what truly matters. Oh, I love this quote. It just perfectly captures habit 2. Think about it. You can be the most efficient, hardworking person in the world, furiously climbing that ladder of success, but if it's leaning against the wrong wall, every single step you take just gets you to the wrong place faster. It's about making sure you've picked the right wall before you start climbing. So how do we actually put first things first? Habit 3 gives us this incredible tool. See, most of us spend our lives bouncing between quadrant 1, dealing with crises, and quadrant 3, getting distracted by things that feel urgent but aren't important at all. But here's the secret. Highly effective people, they live in quadrant 2. They focus on what's important but not urgent. Things like planning, relationship building, finding new opportunities. They prevent problems before they become crises. This is the real engine of effectiveness.
Okay, so once you've achieved that personal independence, that private victory, you're finally ready for the public victory. This is where we shift from I to we and step into the incredible power of interdependence. And at the core of every single effective relationship is trust. Covey uses this fantastic metaphor to explain it, the emotional bank account. Think of it like a real bank account. Every time you interact with someone, you're either making a deposit by being kind, honest, and keeping promises, or you're making a withdrawal. And just like a real bank account, you want a high balance in your most important relationships. So how do you make these deposits? Well, it's about consistently doing these things, really trying to understand the other person, paying attention to the small things, clarifying expectations so there are no surprises, and of course, showing personal integrity. But the big ones? Keeping your commitments. Breaking a promise is a massive withdrawal. On the flip side, apologizing sincerely when you mess up, that's a huge deposit. Habit 4 is a total mindset shift. It's about believing there's enough for everyone and constantly looking for solutions that benefit everybody involved. It's not about being a pushover, that's lose-win, and it's definitely not the competitive win/lose paradigm. The most evolved form of this is win-win or no deal. It basically says, hey, if we can't find a solution that works for both of us, then we just agree not to make a deal. No hard feelings. It protects the relationship, which is the most important thing. This one, man, it sounds so simple, but it is so powerful. Most of us don't listen to actually understand what the other person is saying. We listen so we can figure out what we're going to say next. We're listening to reply. This habit completely flips that on its head. It says you have to put in the work to deeply, empathetically understand someone else's point of view first, before you ever try to get them to understand yours.
Covey pulls from ancient Greek philosophy to drive this point home, and it's brilliant. See, effective persuasion always follows this order. First comes ethos, which is your personal credibility, your character. Do people trust you? Then comes pathos, your empathy. Do people feel like you understand them? And only then, last, comes logos, the logic of your argument. Most of us get this backward. We lead with logic, but if people don't trust you or feel understood by you, your brilliant logic will just fall completely flat.
And all of this leads to habit 6, synergize. This is where the magic really happens. This is what you get when you put all the other habits into practice. It's when 1 + 1 = 3, or 10, or 100. Synergy is all about creative cooperation, genuinely valuing that other people see the world differently, and using those differences to create new, better solutions that no one could have thought of on their own. It's not my way or your way, it's our way, a better way.
And finally, we get to the habit that makes all the other 6 possible. Covey tells this great little story. Imagine a guy in the woods sawing away at a tree for hours, exhausted, making no progress. You come along and say, hey, why don't you take a break and sharpen your saw? And he says, I can't, I'm too busy sawing. That's what most of us do.
Habit 7 is all about taking the time to sharpen your own saw, your greatest asset, which is you. And you do it across these 4 key areas. You've got the physical, exercise, nutrition, sleep, the mental, reading, learning, planning, the social and emotional, serving others, building relationships, and the spiritual dimension, meditating, connecting with nature, clarifying what's most important to you. The trick is to keep all 4 in balance. And let's be really clear about this. Sharpening the saw isn't a luxury. It's an absolute necessity. It's the habit that fuels everything else. It's what keeps you from burning out and allows you to grow and tackle life's challenges with more and more capability. So, what's the result when you actually live these 7 habits? Well, you don't just hit a plateau of effectiveness and stay there. You actually start to move on what Covey calls an upward spiral of growth. And this spiral is powered by a simple, continuous process. You learn a new principle, you commit to living by it, and then you actually do it. And with every loop through that cycle, you're operating on a higher plane. You understand the habits on a deeper level. It's a lifelong journey of getting better and better. Covey ends his book with this beautiful quote from T.S. Eliot, and it just captures the whole thing perfectly. This journey isn't about finding some radical new secret. It's about coming back to the timeless principles of character that we might have known all along, but understanding them for the first time on a much deeper, more profound level. And that brings us right back to you. This can't just be interesting information, it has to be about action. So I'll leave you with this one question. Looking at your own life, what is one small, proactive thing you can do today to start sharpening your own saw?